Hey everybody, Patty Ann here. Several of you have asked me to do a print then cut from start to finish using Silhouette Cameo and making a large 15-inch figure. Lots of times I do Disney princesses, but today I'm going to do Elf because it's getting close to Christmas and I absolutely adore this movie, and I'm going to make several different characters from it. So I'm going to start with this fella over here, Buddy. And what I did first of all, I went to Google and typed in Elf the movie. Then I came to Tools over here. And under Tools, I said that I wanted a large image. It asked size, so I said large. And if you're doing a print then cut, you always want to make sure you can get the largest image possible so that your lines are nice and clear and you don't have an issue with blurring. So the next thing that I did was I just opened this elf and I right-clicked on him and said copy image, and then I came over into my Silhouette software, and I already have my mat set up like this. Reason being is I have a 12 by 24 inch mat that I'm going to use. It's my Cricut mat. I don't have a 12 by 24 Cameo mat. Automatic Cameo is my machine, my media size, I made it custom because what I have is 11 by 17 inch paper, cardstock, and actually I get this, and I'll show it to you in a little bit. I get this from Staples. They actually call it cover stock, and it's 11 by 17, so I had to change it to custom, and I changed in the width to 11. 17 was the height, just like this. The next thing that I did do was I went ahead and came over to the third button over, which is the registration marks, and I turned those on. So right now it's toggled to be off. I want it to be on. So this shows me that I cannot put anything where this little checked area is, or hashed, or where these red lines are. And the way I know where these red lines go, if yours don't show up, so you can go back again over here to the first button under the page setup, and I've simply checked both of these boxes down here so I can see the line inside of which my item must go. So all I need to do now is right click and say paste, and there comes Buddy in there just like that. Going to make him a little bit larger. So obviously he's not going to work as a print then cut because there's this big box around him, so I need to get rid of that. So to get rid of that in Silhouette, all you have to do is come over to the trace tool, which looks like a piece of toast over here on the right hand side. It says trace panel. I'll click on that. That opens up this panel. I'm going to say select the trace area. I'm just going to draw a box around him. Notice his legs are not traced in, so that means I need to up the threshold right here. So I'm going to make that go up until his legs are colored in well. Oh, see, if I go too far, look at that. Let me scroll in so you can see. If I go too far, look how junky that looks, jaggedy. So I'm going to go back out a bit. I want this line to be connected. So where can I go? There we go. Right to there I think will work. So I'm going to scroll back out and see if it looks like I still have his legs as I expect. I do. So all I have to do now is say trace and detach. And anytime I do print then cut, I do trace and detach. So what that's done is it's taken away this big white square that I don't need anymore. X that out. And now all I have is Buddy. And actually a little part down here, if you can see, that I'm going to highlight and delete. Alright, so let's bring this up like this. Now obviously I can make Buddy a lot larger now because he just has to fit inside of those lines. The thing is, when I make him, I like to have a little tiny bit of a white offset around it because I think it makes it look finished and really, really nice. So to put an offset around Buddy right now, I'm just going to come over here to the offset tool on the right. Looks like a star with an offset on it. Click on that and click on the word offset. Okay, you can see that that already put an offset around him. I'm going to make it smaller. I like to make my offset on my figures 0.05. So I'll type that in there and I'll just hit apply. And now I can change that offset to white by coming up here on the left-hand side at the top, getting the paint colors out and changing it to white. And now you can see I have a white offset around him, which is perfect. So I'm going to grab both of those and group them. I want them to stay together. I'm going to bring him over and see, is he going to fit? Yes, he's going to fit perfectly. I could probably stretch him just a tiny bit bigger too. So before I do anything else, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to send up here in the upper right hand corner so I can see what's going to happen. Is it all within that red boundary line? Yes, it certainly is. And I would simply go to cut edge, because that's all I want to cut is around the edge of him. And notice it's not going to cut between his legs, which I don't want it to do that because that would weaken it a little bit. I'm just going to leave that white spot in between there. So I am going to go back to design, and this time I can either hold down my Alt key and drag off another one of him. Another thing I could do is just click on him to highlight him and come over to the replicate panel, which is here, open it. And then I have lots of options here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to mirror him, and I'm going to mirror him to the right because I'm going to have him be front and back sided so he looks good from either side. Mirror. And that's perfect just like that, although I might move this over just a tiny bit so they're not touching. And again, I'm going to go to send. Make sure everything looks good, and it looks perfect, except for this is still a little close, so I could still move him over a little bit if I want to, but I think it's okay. All right, so the next thing I have to do now is I've got to print this. Now I can print this big on my printer because I have a large format printer. So, but for my printer, all I would do is go to File, Print. I go to Preferences. Now on this, all printers are different. On my printer, I leave it at Auto Select. I tell it the size of the paper I'm using. I want it to be the plain paper. I want a high quality. And I ask it to do a print preview. And I'll say OK and print. And it's going to show me what it will print on my printer. Okay, that is perfect. This is what's going to print. So I'm simply going to hit the word print and print this on my printer, and I'll be right back. Okay, as I said, this is the kind of cardstock that I used. It's called Cover Stock, large size, and I do get it at Staples. I'll have a link for it down below for you in case you want to purchase it through the store and then go pick it up. But also, just so you know what it is I use, you can look in the link down below and you'll see it. So I've already printed this, as I said. It's come out just like this, which is perfect. Okay. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on my large mat, my large Cricut mat. Got to move some things out of the way. So let's see. Move this forward a little bit, my machine, so that it doesn't run into anything behind it. And here's my Cricut mat. So obviously, yes, we can use Cricut mats in our Cameo machines. So I'm going to put this on with this little solid black box in the upper left-hand corner of my Cricut mat. Like that. Sometimes my machine does have a hard time reading the registration mark when I use the Cricut mat, but it's really not a problem. I can show you how I can fix that very easily. So I'm going to put this in. And this paper over here. Okay, so now I'm going to go up to my silhouette again and say send. Whoops, I didn't want this little piece here. Let's move that off. All right, I'm going to say send. And I'm going to change this from cardstock plain to cover stock. And I'm just going to go ahead and say send. Let's double check, make sure I have everything correct. Okay, I'm going to say send. And I'm hoping that my registration marks will work. Yep, it worked. Perfect. So this is going to cut, since it's on cover stock, it's actually going to go around this twice. So after it's done cutting, I will meet you back here and continue on. Okay, I have all of my supplies that I need out here. I have my buddy who's already been printed and then cut with my machine. I have my Fiskars cutters that I use to cut my piece of wood that's going to go in him, and it's going to go into this base like this so he'll stand up perfectly. I'll move this for now. No. And I have my coffee, which I'm going to take a sip of right quick. Move it over to the side so I don't spill. And my glue gun. As I said before, I wish I had a bigger glue gun because I go through this glue a lot really quickly. I also have several different kinds of sticks. I have small or narrow popsicle sticks and then the bigger tongue depressor type. So I'll use both of these probably in this as well. So let's move a few of these things out of the way so I can get Buddy off of the mat. And he's going to come off very well. Perfectly, just like that. And then I'm just going to bring him off. It's better probably if you kind of bend your mat instead of bending him so he stays flatter. I'll move my mat off to the side. So now I have both of my pieces here, and you'll notice if I put them like this, they'll fit together perfectly. And again, he measures right at 15 inches. But by the time I put him on his base, he'll be taller than that. And I just love it. So this is how I go about finishing this up. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the stick that's going to go right here. So I'll probably make it about that long. This is a wonderful tool that I got, my husband got for me, so I can cut my own things down here and don't have to worry about someone coming down to help me. Just cut right through it. Just like that. So I can put this aside. And I have this little stick that I'm going to use first, and it's going to go right in here. See, I want him to stand up straight. So yeah, just right in here like this. Right here. So I can move these out of the way, put the safety back on. And hopefully my glue gun is hot now. Ready to roll. So there it is. So I'll stick this stick in here, leaving some to stick out so it can go into the base. Press that down like that. And if you get any on your mat, the self-healing mat, it can just be picked right off, no problem. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to start putting some of these sticks in here. And these help to keep him nice and straight so I don't have an issue with him bending ever. Don't want him to show outside of the edge right here, so I keep them over. And I do usually overlap them a little bit. I notice I'm using the longer sticks right now because I have, or the wider ones, because I have more of those. Get those at Hobby Lobby or any place like that. Okay, there's that. And then I think I'll put one more, and maybe, shall I do a thick one? Sure, why not? Thick one will work right there up through his head. And that's going to make him nice and solid, just like that. Perfect. Love it. Okay, so there he is, and he's ready to go. It's a little bendy right there. Maybe I better put one more stick there. I don't know if I really need to by the time I put two things together, but I will just in case, since I really didn't overlap those. See if that'll help a little bit. Okay. All right, let's see if I put this piece in here. All right, that's going to keep him very sturdy. So I'm going to start at the top at his head and work my way down. So I just put some up here. Notice I'm already kind of running out of my glue stick. So I'll come up here and get sure to make sure I line this up well. Okay, there we go. Perfect. And then all these glue stick strings. Then I just pull this up like this, and I just continue down. And I need a new glue stick. I have one right here, already handy. I'm not sure if I can use bigger glue sticks in this little glue gun or not. I need to investigate that so they'll last a little longer. But I think he's really turning out well. And then I'm going to get out my stickles and probably decorate him a little bit. Lastly, his bottom part of his feet, and this, and this. Very good. And that is all there is to it. So then what I would do next is get that little block that I had, stick him in this block, and I'll send you a picture later. I'll put a picture at the end later that you can see that he's going to stand up perfectly on that. I love it. So the next thing I would do now is just go ahead and put some decoration on each side, because you guys know I love the bling. So let's see, what can I do? I can get some red stickles for his hat, some gold. Whoopsie, don't want to use that. Some gold. This is golden rod. That'd probably be good. I don't have any black, but I could put some. Not sure what to do yet. I have some more stickles coming in. I could put some shiny on here and here. And maybe that's all I'll do for him and his belt buckle. So I'll start first with the red part. Shake this thing up. And make sure it's coming out okay. And do this little red part. So I'll have to wait, just do one side and then let it dry and then do the other side. Okay, I'll do this part. Usually I don't start from the outside and work in, because that's a recipe for disaster. And I know I've told you guys a bunch of times that I am the world's worst when it comes to being patient and waiting for things to dry. I'm forever getting my fingers stuck in the wet glitter. So see, I did that, and I probably shouldn't have. I probably should have done the collar first. So let's see, should I do the collar with some fancy? Let's see. It's going to make it really sparkly. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing for him or not. But since I like glitter, I'm going to do it. This one's getting gone, and this is one of the ones that I've ordered some more of. It's pretty. It makes it sparkle pretty. And turn it around like this. And get this part, just outlining it. Just add a little definition and a little bling. I don't know that Buddy's would actually have any bling on it, but I just like the bling. And then for his eyes, I will probably put in a little tiny bit of the glossy accents. I might need to glue that a little bit better later. The foot, the feet. So put little tiny glossy accents there and there. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you liked today's video, and if you did, you give it a thumbs up and you subscribe and hit the bell. So many of you have asked for me to show you how I go from start to finish with my print and cut larger than matte or 15 inches and above images. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments down below. Also, check out below where I have lots of links to things. If you're in the market to buy something and you use my link, it really helps me to be able to keep my channel going and my Facebook groups going. So I really appreciate it. Anyway, thanks again for joining me. See y'all again soon. Oh, by the way, don't forget, every Wednesday I have a live session on YouTube that's all about a mystery that my sister Jean Frieda gives me. Once a week, she sends me everything I need to make a project. It's a mystery to me. I don't know what it is until that very morning. So you can join me and see whether Jean's going to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down on how well I do on her mystery. So thanks again. Bye-bye, you guys.